world reforms international trade. So let's start with the first point, that is small scale enterprise. See, MSME in India has a lot of importance because they are considered as an important tool to introduce development. We have discussed what is the difference between economic growth and economic development. Economic growth is quantitative. It may lead to development of nation. Economic growth, or whatever quantitative growth we have achieved, getting to the lowest possible level or every citizen. And then only we can say like economic growth has led to economic development. Okay, like there is inverted U hypothesis given by Kuznets. Okay, he also said that initially when economy will grow, definitely inequality will also grow. I will repeat, initially when economy will grow, also inequality will grow. But once we reach to the peak level, then obviously per capita income or economic development will increase. So maybe in case of India, like we are maybe having the highest amount of inequality. Like in last year also we have seen like inequality has increased from 81% to 83%. So that means inequality is increasing. But India being a developing nation, we can understand we are on that path of inverted U hypothesis where our economy is going as we are achieving a 2.7 trillion. We have achieved. सर तुमची स्क्रीन दाखवत नाही सर. We have achieved highest growth in last couple of years. India is continuously noticing or continuously India is continuously registering double-digit growth. When world is growing, just one minute. माइक नाही का चालू. माइक चालू आहे ना. नाही सर नाही का साऊंड नाही येतात. मागचा इश्यू लागतो पुन्हा एकदा. नाही माइक पण काही करतात आवाज नाही येत इकडे. नाउ इट इज ओके. बरोबर पाहतो ना. There was some technical issue. So we have discussed that in last couple of years, India has continuously registered highest economic growth. Like when the world's emerging economies are growing at a 3.4%, India's average growth is more than 4.5%. Okay, in fact, Manmohan Singh's era from 2008, and in that particular period, when world was degrowing, in fact, India was growing at a double of economy. Decoupling of economy means when world was actually degrowing, India was growing. So when India is growing or other countries are decreasing, or economic policies of India is very strong. We have a very good consumer-based economy that shows that India has their own market, irrespective of world market or trend of a world market. India can sustain with their own consumer base. We can produce the goods, we can sell our products because we have a high consumer base. So there are many indicators which shows that India is having a strong economic base. And India's strong economic base, we increase our per capita income. When our citizens are having a good purchasing capacity, then we may not need to depend on export or external customer. Like there are many economies which are completely dependent on export, but India is not among them. Like in fact, going around other way, other companies are dependent on India's consumer base. Why USA, China, and many other developed nations? They know India has the highest consumer base. We have a second highest population in the world, and obviously India is having a very good purchasing capacity too. That's why most of the companies are having eye on India. They want to build a good relationship with India. Okay, so like why we are discussing, because we want to ensure that every person of India should have a better purchasing MSME or micro, small, and medium enterprise are those segments which are having that that economic development should reach to everyone, every citizen. How MSME can play this role? MSME is largest employment generator, source of employment generation. MSME leads to 40% of employment in India. Okay, it leads to around 35 to 40% of export contribution. Okay, MSME has 11,000 products in its basket. MSME reach to every level. It has, it has the potential to reduce the gender gap as well as, okay, because most of the women entrepreneurs are starting their business under the MSME. MSME is very core to India that always work towards developing MSME. We have just given an introduction. MSME is nothing but a small business. Okay, there is a definition of MSME. How can you define MSME? Like existing criteria, revised criteria. Existing criteria was micro, small, and medium. You can see the three bracket. Okay, like there was a turnover less than 25 lakh will be considered as a micro, less than 5 crore will be considered as small enterprise, and medium enterprise less than 10 crore. Okay, and there is a different definition for service enterprises. Okay, since there is like the manufacturing is completely dependent on the service provider. Okay, so there is not a, it's based on quality or it's based on your skills. It's not based on your some raw material. Okay, that's why there is a lesser requirement to call micro, small, and medium enterprise for service providing enterprises. But the government has realized that there are many firms who are not investing money in their plant to the next level, or they don't want to come back out of, or they don't want to go out of MSME. So they are not increasing their investment because the moment they will increase the investment more than 10 crore or more than 5 crore, they will go to next bracket. Or sometimes if it's more than 10 crore, they will completely go out of the MSME benefits. They will not be able to avail. People will, they are not making investment. If you read last to last year economic survey, they have talked about MSME and role of MSME. See, Indian government has a limited resource and they can invest or they can give a subsidy, spend the money. Like government has used dwarf MSMEs, dwarf DWARF, or okay, and second was a new entrant. Okay, those who are newly entering into MSME sector. So government has observed through their research that those who are dwarf MSMEs, they are around 75% of the people, around 90% or 80 to 90% of the subsidies which government is announcing because of political correction or awareness about government policies. They are availing maximum benefits, but they are giving only 10 to 20% of the jobs. I will repeat, they are engulfing around 80 to 90% of the government corpus or subsidies, but they are generating only 10 to 20% of the employment. In fact, they have a very minute contribution in terms of export. So government has decided, okay, we want to promote MSP, but we don't want to promote top MSMEs. Okay, those who are owned by some political corrected people or those who are owned by dominant people. Rather than we will promote those MSMEs who are actually doing a business or they are actually generating business. Okay, and they are interested in becoming a unicorn, as a role model. So government has tried to change the definition from investment to turnover. Okay, now since it is based on turnover and everybody wants to increase the turnover, and to increase the turnover you need an investment. Okay, since it's based on turnover and you need a revenue and you cannot reduce your revenue. So to increase the revenue, government has changed the definition based on turnover so that people will invest in their businesses. They will buy new machines with their business will increase. And obviously, if their business will increase, obviously employment, export, contribution towards GDP will increase. Okay, that will lead to economic growth, to economic development. That's why government has promoting MSME. Always remember, whenever like whoever of you want to start their own business, try something in MSME. Can you avail some loan, some seed capital, some subsidies from MSME? If you can avail those benefits, trust me, there is a high chances that you will get a better business or you will get a success in your business because you are getting a support in every aspect from the government. Okay, there is a scheme called seed capital. Like many of us don't have capital to invest. We don't have that money or that we don't have the support like 10 lakh, 15 lakh, 20 lakh to start a business, but we have a very good idea. So in that case, there is something called a seed capital bank. Government is having in every district a seed capital, which provides a loan under MSME without any mortgage. Okay, a lot of benefits are there, but only thing is we are not aware. Since we are not aware, we think that since I do a private employer, it's not necessary. If you have an idea, if you are aware about your rights or if you are aware about the government policies, there are so many problems, so many schemes which are working to promote MSME. In fact, there is a priority sector lending, 40% loans to this priority sector, and MSME is the one among them. There is Pradhan Mantri Employment Generation Program. There is Chief Minister Employment Generation Program. Okay, and there are different schemes which government promote under the so industrial development program. Okay, even in Pune, if you go to agriculture college, there is a separate department. There you will get a bank, you will get incubation center. If you have any program, they will convert your idea into actual product. They will help you. They will give you skill program training on different programs like maybe as small as silai machine, or maybe you have goat farming, poultry farm, whatever business you want to do. Government is there to help you because they know once you start a goat farm, obviously it will, one or other day it will go out to export. It will generate economy. It will increase economic activity. You are going to buy, animals from somewhere, so they will get the money. They will also spend the money. Think that, animals to somebody else, you will get the money. You will have an employee. You will give contract to somebody who will construct your shed, who will provide you seed, who will provide you raw material, who will provide you food for the animals. So there are many people who are going to get benefit if you start a new business. So that's why government always said, don't be a job seeker, be a job giver. And this thing can be converted into reality when we promote MSME, micro, small, medium. So that's why government gives a lot of focus on every introduction about MSME. Okay, role of MSME we have discussed. It increase into real per capita income, like the fruits of economic growth will lead to it will go to reach to every person. So they will develop their per capita income. Per capita income we calculate GDP divided by total population. If we see in terms of our GDP growth, we are fifth largest economy. But if we look at into per capita income, we are nowhere in top 100. Okay, why? Because our population is very high, and compared to what GDP we are having, if we divide among that number of population, obviously our per capita income will be very low. Like in China, like we and China both have started at the same time. We both had a similar emotional background, same historical background. Okay, but still their per capita income is $9,000, like $9,000 per person per head. Even they are having highest population. In fact, they are the first highest. We are converted. They have able to convert it, their demographic disaster into demographic dividend. And we are trying on a similar path by providing. We want to give skills to most of our people so that they will be switched. There will be structural change. They will shift from agriculture industry to secondary and tertiary industry. That is manufacturing and service industry. And this is possible only and only when we give them a training. When we start a program called Make in India. Make in India program is what? They are giving base for secondary and tertiary industry. Right? Global being a part of global value chain. This is also giving a chance for in establishing new industry in India. Okay. The development of small enterprise contributes to the increase in per capita income and leads to overall economic development. Okay. I hope again you understood the difference between economic growth and economic development. Okay, it generates vast employment opportunity. We have discussed around 40% of the employment can be generated by MSME with relative low investment. See, why we have to promote investment? Because these are the businesses which can be started with the lowest investment. Okay, legit proper. The example of a legit proper, which is started in a 1 BHK or maybe smaller place less than 1 BHK. But today they have emerged as a unicorn. They work as a role model for many other entrepreneurs who want to start their own business. Promotes more equitable distribution of national income. Okay, if we avoid MSF, maybe there will be GDP growth, there will be economic growth, but that will not percolate to everyone. Maybe that will be restricted to few people, and that will again lead to increasing inequality. So this is a tool. MSME is a tool, or MSME is an important contributor to increase economic equality, which is mentioned in our preamble or our constitution. Makes effective mobilization of utilized capital and skill power. Okay, whatever resources we have, whatever manpower we have, we can use them in best of the power. Like 60% of our manpower is dependent on agriculture. Okay, and what GDP contribution we get from agriculture is only 14 to 15%. That means there are 60% of the people who are dependent on that 14% of them. Okay, 83% of our population is having less than 2 hectares of land. And there is again fragmentation of land. Every time land is getting divided, a generation will go. Because land is one among those factors of production which cannot be increased. Okay, which cannot be increased. This is stagnant. So you have to ensure that your people will move to secondary and tertiary industry because that is something which is growing and that has a potential to grow. Okay. Since a lot of people are engaged in agriculture industry, we can call them as a disguised unemployment. Though we can see like they are employed, but this is actually disguised unemployment. Disguised unemployment towards suppose there is a farmland and there is a like it's a 1 acre of land and there are two brothers are working. Okay, and they are generating 100 rupees. They are generating 100 rupees. Each one is doing for like each one is doing a work of 50 rupees. Suppose there's a third person who joins them, like he is a brother of them. Okay, third brother joins to them, and he after third brother adds to that business, they have calculated their income, and that was again 100 rupees. That means the third person who joined the business or who joined that particular agriculture activity, his marginal productivity is zero. That means he has not added any value to it. But if you look at from outside, what you will say, yes, three brothers are employed, they are doing their agriculture business. But there are many people who are not adding any value to it because there is no requirement of third person. Actually, there is a requirement of only 2%, but third person is joining just because it's a family business. Or there is no other alternative. There is no opportunity. So can we do that? By employing few people into agriculture, which is necessary for who are not required there, can be shifted to secondary and tertiary industry. This is what we call structural changes. If we do a structural changes, definitely our people can be utilized in a more efficient way. Okay, and to do this, like to move people from primary to secondary and tertiary, we need to provide them skills because in manufacturing industry or tertiary industry, what you require is a skill. Okay. I'm not saying in primary industry you don't require skill, but these skills are taught by our father and grandfather. But skills or to enter into primary and second and tertiary industry, you need specific skills which can be taught only by a desired or the dedicated institutes. Okay. Recently, Niti Aayog chairman has said like India can be a carrier to 30% of artificial intelligence. Okay. So we know that emerging technologies are there, IoT, AI, robotics. What are those technologies? Like they are going to require some kind of repairing after this or some kind of assembling, manufacturing, raw material, whatever they require. So can we provide or can we ensure that our people will be ready for that emerging problems? Can we have that region which is moving ahead the time? Okay, if we can do that, if we can give that those training to our people, definitely India, the world will require a manpower from India or India can become an important part of emerging technologies for India. Without India, world cannot imagine about these technologies. So can we achieve that stage? Can we plan in advance about those things, which will lead to bringing India to that level where India actually deserves because of its demand, population and demography, right? So this is about can we convert our demography into demographic dividend or will remain into a demographic disaster? Okay, well said. We know MSME is there, MSME's advantages we have to discuss. Why people are not opting for MSP or why MSP is not able to take off? Why they are not taking this, that level or why they are not reaching at that level? There are certain challenges which MSMEs face. So let's see those challenges. Problem of skill manpower. As we said, to enter the secondary and tertiary industry, what you require? You require various skills. Okay, like we have discussed about AI. To become a mechanic of AI, you need to understand AI. You need to understand various integrators related with AI, which is not there, or people are not enough trained. They are not educated. Educated. That means I'm not saying they are not engineer, but they are not skilled. Okay, even after having good education, they are not skilled. Or without even education, you can have a skill. But most of the people are not having the skill. They are not aware where to go, how to apply for these skill programs. So first we have to generate a various programs, and then we have to make aware, ensure that the people are aware about availability of these tools. Like government has introduced last year skill in the program, and there are around 66% of the courses, like two-thirds of the courses were not even a 1% applied. That means people are not aware about the exist of particular person, particular skill program. Okay. Even in our general life, you can see there are few areas where their parents want to, like either they want to make their an engineer or doctor. Or most there are two, three other sectors. But out of that, nobody will thinks about data interpretation. Nobody talks about data analytics. Nobody talks about animation. Okay, there are so many things which which market requires, but we are traditionally running there only those sectors that will lead to increase in competition. Similarly, after government announced MSME, what farmers do? They go for the same crops, which are there in a basket of MSME, and everybody produce the same goods that lead to bumper prices. Higher the prices, lower the demand, lower the prices. Since there is ample amount of goods are available in the market, there is lower demand. In terms of manpower, like as Karl Marx says, there is always like capitalist always creates a reserve army. So similarly, here we have a lot of people who are unemployed and they are applying for the same one job. There are multiple people who are applying for one job, and that leads to increase in bargaining power from a capitalist side. So obviously, they will give you reduced salary. So that's why we have read about that in MP for a super job. There were multiple applications. Government people were a PhD people. So this is what we call India doesn't have a problem of unemployment. India's unemployment rate is only 5%. Like, I'm not saying only 5%, but this is 5%. Okay, even we don't want this 5%, but still it's 5%. The biggest problem which India is facing is underemployment. It's not about unemployment; it is about underemployment. Most of the people are not getting the salary they deserve. That's why most of the women prefer not to work. Why? Because they feel they are no, they wait. First, they wait for getting a right job. They don't get that particular job. After that, they have a wide gap, and ultimately, market will not accept it. And they get into marriage and then children, and they get into that cycle of family. Okay, that's why government wants to promote MSME Skill India program so that people will have appropriate skills and they get entry into secondary and tertiary industry. And obviously, okay, not about unemployment, not even underemployment. Okay, inadequate credit assistance. Obviously, we say that no banks supposed to give a priority to MSME sectors, but normally they don't trust on MSME players. Normally, they always raise a lot of questions. They will try to ensure that you yourself should not come to back. Like they will show you a lot of mistakes in your project. They will show you a lot of things like you don't have that skill. So some or other way, they will try to avoid giving loan to MSMEs because there is an option. If they are not giving 40% loan to a priority sector, then they can invest into a government bond. So they will prefer that because they know that this is a secured way to invest money because they fear that if we give loan to MSME, either there will be loan waiver from a government or no, people will not return their money. By some or other way, they don't trust MSME. And obviously, there is no mortgage, like most of the programs, there is no mortgage. So government banks have that fear. So they doesn't give a credit to MSMEs. Like you go for car loan, you go for house loan, they will welcome you, they will offer it you, and they will offer it you tea and everything. But the moment you go for a credit for starting a business or MSME, they will raise a lot of questions. Irregular supply of raw material, obviously, since like factor of production we have no like there is factor of production, land, labor, entrepreneurial skills and capital. So they are lacking a raw material at a particular time. Okay. So since that leads to irregularity in the market and that leads to irregular material, irregular production or irregular marketing. Absence of organized marketing. Okay, you have produced the goods, you know how to produce the goods, you have produced the best of the best quality goods. But if you are not able to market it, then it's useless. And people, those who are into MSME, they are normally not aware about various marketing tools. Like recently, like in a recent trend, you can go for digital marketing. But most of the people who are into MSME not aware about how to use digital technology, how to use those tools, which are comparatively cheaper. Like initially marketing means first thing which comes to our mind is television. But television is very costly. There are a lot of free tools available like Facebook. You can use Instagram, you can use Quora, you can use YouTube. Like there are various tools which are comparatively cheaper. Okay, or you don't have to investment that high, you know, for going to marketing. But you need to find, you need to have that proper knowledge about marketing, how to find the right place, how to find the right price, how to develop your product, how to promote your product, like four P's of product. So you need to know those things only. If you know these things technology will lead to localization of the product. Lack of machinery and equipment, obviously, like there is a lesser investment, they can't afford high investment or high capital budgeting. So what they do, they normally go for a manual work, or they are dependent on labor. That's okay. That's labor intensive industry, and we are expected to work with the people wherever possible. But obviously, at some time you need a machinery. Some equipments are you cannot move on, but they are not that again throw them out of the competition, like because the big companies or MNC companies, they have a lot of machines, and they can they produce a lot of goods at a shorter period of time with a lower cost, which MSME can't compete. Absence of adequate infrastructure like cold chain, marketplaces, lot of infrastructure like roads in the rural area, you know internet connection, computer connection, lot of things are missing, which which are which are quite essential, or which are very essential to start any business. Okay, to promote a digital marketing, obviously you need a lot of softwares, you need computers, high confidence computers, you need manpower, human skills. Okay, that is also human assets. Okay, but there are a lot of infrastructure issues that leads to again as a challenge to MSME. Competition from large scale events and imported articles. We have said like imported articles are much cheaper, like China, the dumping policy of China, okay, manipulation of currency, a better quality product because of use of machineries. So normally MSMEs face challenge from imported goods as well as large scale units or big production units. Other problems like project planning, not aware about how to make a project planning, how to go to bank, how to approach a bank, how to solve a query or the questions are asked by a banking system. Managerial inequalities, like they are normally like not MBAs, or they are not enough educated to understand the etiquettes or the requirements of a market. Okay, old and orthodox designs, like they are still working on old designs. They don't have modernized technology. They have not accepted the change. High degree of obsolescence. In fact, there are many people who start MSME, they take a loan, and obviously they take a subsidy, and they just close down their business. So there are many people who are doing this, and because of these people, actually those people who are actually interested in starting their business, they get affected because banks don't trust them, because most of the people take a loan, they 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 incur for subsidy, and they don't do their business, and they just return the remaining money, or they ask for a loan waiver from a government. So in this particular situation, banks also have taken a back seat whenever a MSME, they have to give loan to MSME. Balance of payment. The next one, like we have discussed about MSME, I hope you got a basic idea about MSME. I suggest you go on internet, read about MSME, because it's not only about a lot of relevance in your own life. Trust me, irrespective of whether you go for your own business or you go for employment, okay, you are going to cross some or other by MSME. So it's better to have a detailed understanding about what is MSME, what are the provisions, or what are the benefits government is providing to MSMEs. Okay, what are the kind of subsidies for a particular business? There is around 35% of subsidy. Subsidy means if you take a loan of 100 rupees, you don't have to pay 35 rupees. Okay, government will pay your 35 rupees. You have to pay remaining 65 rupees. You just have to repay 65 rupees and interest on that 65 rupees. Government will pay you the 35 rupees. Okay, this is what we call subsidy. So there are a lot of subsidies provided by government. There is inter-subvention schemes, and in between, government introduced a lot of schemes, lot of supports to MSMEs. Okay, maybe you require a land for it, so you can apply for land under MIDC, or there are so many things. Industrial area, there are a lot of benefits government provide to MSME. Is you need a right, really you want to enter into a business. Don't go into MSME if you want to just use the government loopholes, or you just want to eat government subsidy. Interested? Trust me, MSME is the best way to start your business, irrespective of whether you have capital or not. Balance of wealth, okay, or a whole life. Okay, every month, like suppose we get pocket money, like I consider there are many people who are not working. Okay, so we get some pocket money. So our pocket money is our income. Okay, and what we expenses we manage in that, maybe room rent, charges for maybe recharge, mobile recharge, or whatever expenses are, gym charges. So whatever charges you pay for it, that is your outgoing money. So ultimately, when you manage, what's your balance sheet? Like ultimately, what is coming to me and what is going out should match with each other. Okay, it should not be a deficit. Like what I am getting, I'm spending more than that. आमदनी अठ्ठानी खर्चा रुपये ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. we don't want to reach to that condition where our income is less than our expenditure. Okay. So obviously the similar account even our government is having, our state is having. Okay, that is called balance of payment. Okay, balance of payment. How much money is coming to us and how much. Okay. So balance of payment, like we always known for a trade deficit. Or we always face trade deficit, we never have trade surplus. Okay. So what is balance of payment? Actually, suppose there is one there is one basket where we have a money, and either money coming to that basket or money is going out to the basket. Okay. So this is a balance of payment. When we have enough money to give it to our creditor, then we can say that we are having enough money. But when we don't have that enough money, we face trade. Okay, so there are two accounts. One is current account, one is capital account. Current account, like capital account, whenever it comes to capital account or capital word, always remember it is about long term. On current account itself is saying it's short term. Okay, account is about short term. Okay, another meaning like capital revenue and expenditure revenue. So revenue expenditure or capital expenditure. Revenue expenditure or capital expenditure. So understand the difference between these two things. Okay, suppose there is a 50 you have and both the friends having a 50,000 buys of clothes. Okay, or he buys goggle, clothes, shoes, everything and spends that 50,000. Another friend gold of 10 gram of gold. Okay, and he comes back and they both say they are asked to put up as a kharcha or we spent all the money. But ultimately you have to understand they have spent for a different purpose. Okay, one person is one person is having a capital expenditure because tomorrow he can sell that good. In fact, he may earn money on that particular expenditure. That is capital expenditure. Whereas revenue expenditure is something which is one and one. Once you spend that money, you cannot earn anything from that sources. Like once you buy clothes, garment, or whatever you want to buy, you are not able to recover that money. Okay, this is what we call revenue expenditure. So government also has a different expenditure and different headings. Whenever you look at the balance sheet of the government, you will come to a different one. But I think understand the basic thing. Capital and current. Capital is about long term. Current is about current situation. Expenditure has a different methods. Like similarly, your capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. In terms of assets, also you will have a capital asset and revenue asset. Okay. So in terms of current account, you can have a two kind of current accounts or two way you can spend the money. Either it is a visible or it is a invisible. Okay. In a visible, like you bought a crude oil, you bought a car, mobile, computer, gold, etc. These are visible items. Okay. You can see, you can feel those items. They are tangible items. Okay. So these are the items which you normally buy every which we call current account. And invisible in current account is services. You have availed services. Like you call some people, to manage your data. This is not something visible. They will come, they will do something on a computer and they will go. And you have to pay salary to them or monetary in a current account. But it is not visible. Okay, incomes, profit, interest, dividend, they are not visible. Transfers, remittance, donations, etc. Whatever government like Indian government is receiving highest remittance in the world. Second is China. Okay, so these incomes which we earn, which is not visible, or we cannot see how we made this money. So this is something which we call invisible current account. In capital account, we have an investment, like not a long-term investment. Somebody like suppose Abbott is coming to India, they are ordering huge equipments or machineries in their plant. This is all situated in India. So this when companies directly invest into Indian market, they establish their headquarters, they establish their manufacturing plant, they buy equipment, or they have some physical presence in India, which cannot be withdrawn overnight. But FII, foreign indirect investment, it is through share market, which can be withdrawn within a single click. Okay, so FDI is more secured income, long-term income. FII is not that secured income. Maybe we are having a lot of FII in India. India is doing very well in terms of FDI and FII from last 10 years. But FDI is considered as a more secured compared to F in terms of loan. Okay, government can take a loan from foreign banks, from other countries. ECB is commercial borrowing, external commercial borrowing. We can go for a private entity. We can take a loan from these private entities. So this is also a long-term loan. Okay, when government goes for a loan or when private entity goes to private entity, this is also a long-term loan. A long-term loan. Okay, bank account, NRIs, like whatever account, whatever money NRIs are saving into India. This is also a capital. This is also money which government can utilize or can use for their purpose. But again, they have to return back. Okay, whenever there is a demand from those investors. Or NRS always, like most of the NRS also invest in government bond, or they invest into a lot of assets of a government, or our nation. So there are so many things which people invest. At the same time, India also pays these things to other people. Like government has taken a loan. The highest expenditure for government is interest on the borrowings. Okay, so this is something government has the highest expense on this particular heading. So whatever money is coming to India and whatever money is going out of India will decide your balance. Okay, and any developed country or developed nation, okay, wants their balance of payment should be always in a surplus. That is, you have a surplus income than your expenditure. But India sits into a developing phase, and we don't have enough investment. We don't have money to serve our people, or to serve our industry, or to establish. We normally go for loan. This is accepted, you know, even in a FRB, Fiscal Responsible Budgetary Management Act, for trade deficit, but there is a limit to trade deficit. Okay, balance of payment, we have to maintain a balance of payment, but there can be a limit to like 3.5%. We have decided a target of 3.5%. We cannot breach that 3.5% line. Okay, if we reach that line, then definitely government or finance minister have to answer, or similarly breach of trade deficit. So this is importance of FRBM Act, Fiscal Responsibility Budgetary Management Act. Discipline in politics, discipline and decision. You cannot take a randomly decision for serving some populist policies. Okay, what we mean by populist policy is, suppose a government announces that, if we come into power, we